Hello and welcome to the Long Talk. Hi, I'm Paul, your host, and you're here on New Zealand Sport Radio. And today I have an absolute treat. This is an interview I've been trying to get for 4 or 5 years now, and finally I've landed him. So this is an exciting day for me, and it is Junior Poluleuligaga. Oh, I hope that's not too far off.
Not a bad effort, bro.
I was chatting with a friend of mine, Stephen Harris, who does some rugby commentary for what used to be Radio Sport, and he was saying that most of the commentators just basically would chicken out and go, right, we're just calling him Junior. We're not going to bother with the other one. So what is your first rugby memory? How did you? What's your first time you
first rugby memory would be of me back in primary school. I attended St. Joseph's Catholic Primary School in Otahuhu, and we didn't have our own rugby team. So, in order for us to play rugby on a Saturday, we had to go under a club, and we went under Marist St. Pat's, and the trainings were held at Otahuhu Primary School, which was about a 20-minute walk from St. Joe's. So we all used to go together after school, a group of us, and go and train there. I would have been about 7 years old, 7, 8. Used to walk down there with a couple of parents and train, and then play on Saturday. So I started off playing under Marist.
I was chatting with Junior Pachilofa who's over in the UK at the moment, working with the Pacific Players Association. But and he was saying that when he started his first session when he was like 4 or 5, and it was full contact. So was it full contact back then when you were playing?
It was. No, absolutely, it was full contact. We were going. Remember when I was about 5 or 6, we weren't playing for any rugby team. We were heavily involved with the church and the youth, and when all the parents were inside the hall having a church meeting, where all the kids were outside playing full-on contact rugby. So we were exposed to that quite early when we were young. Just
very different,
imitating what we saw on TV.
Very different to how it's done nowadays. Where when I drop my
very different.
When I drop my girls off at they go to primary school in Sylvia Park. And when I drop them off, there's all the kids playing touch. They're not playing full contact there. Were you also one of these part of a family that would be getting up in the middle of the night to watch overseas test matches and that kind of stuff as well?
Absolutely. So my dad was a massive fan. He used to invite a lot of the men from church over to watch a Aussie and All Blacks. So that's one of my earliest memories of watching the Bledisloe Cup test, and he was a big fan of Michael Jones. And then also during the '91 World Cup, when that was on, we used to get up and watch Manu Samoa play, and the All Blacks play as well. So my dad always got us up early to watch those games. So that was one of the earliest memories I remember of watching rugby on TV.
It sounds very similar. So, a man who's wearing or was recently wearing the same jersey as you, Dwayne Poliativo, who I talked to a couple of weeks ago. He was saying that 91 Rugby World Cup was a big memory for him. They were one of the few Samoan families who had a TV, so they had a massive. Everyone came around to their house to watch it. It sounds like it's similar with you. You had lots of people around, crammed into the living room.
It was really fun, and that's how a lot of our childhood memories was created, because all the men that were over, all their kids were over as well, and we'll be outside playing rugby in our backyard, and then all the men will be in front of the TV watching the game and drinking beers and things like that. So really a lot of fond memories of my time back then.
Cool. And then so you came up through the North Harbour system?
No. So Auckland, I went to school in Auckland, De La Salle College. Played all my Auckland rep age group stuff in Auckland, and then headed over to
first 15 as well in high school.
Yeah, first 15. Yeah, for De La Salle, and then got a academy contract with Auckland when I left school. So I was in the Auckland Academy for a couple of years, and then was in line. Yeah, and then played for the Auckland Wider squad before heading over to Sydney for a season in 03. Yeah, 2003. So that was our third year out of school, and then.
So who did
2004.
you play for over in Sydney?
Played for Southern Districts.
Is that Shoot Shield?
In the Shoot Shield, yeah, in Shoot Shield. So I still keep tabs on them, and they're doing really well. So it's awesome to see. Yeah, and then spent a season there in 03, then came back in 04 and went over to Harbour and played for Massey. Yeah.
So Massey's the university side.
The rugby club. The rugby club.
Okay.
Yeah, the rugby club. So spent a few years there.
And then your big break in 2006 with the not only getting into the Blues but also your first sort of big overseas tour.
Yeah. What did we do?
Pacific. Looking at. I mean, I'm running off Wikipedia here, so it might not be right. The other day I it said
no, that's right. But, we had that PI tour in 2006. And that was awesome. Pat Lam was coaching that team. We had, I wish they kept that concept going because it was awesome for PI rugby. And we played Wales at Millennium, and then we were the last game to be played at Lansdowne Road in Ireland. So that was the last ever test match there. And then we played Scotland as well. So we didn't win any games, but we were pretty competitive. It was pretty hard. We just got together and met each other for the first time, or some of us for the first time, beginning of the week. This
was before you'd this was before you'd actually represented Samoa. So this was your first taste of
international
rugby.
Yeah. So that all was mainly for guys that had either played for Fiji, Samoa, Tonga, or guys that were going to consider playing for those island nations because of the 07 World Cup the following year. So Michael Jones got a hold of Pat Lam and asked if I could come along because he was looking at me to be part of the World Cup squad the following year. So yeah, it's pretty fortunate.
So one of the reasons I think that didn't continue was that the individual nations were Samoa, Tonga and Fiji were a bit worried that they would lose their kind of individual rights, and they would end up being just merged as permanently as just Pacific Islands. So, but you think actually it was a good concept that we should.
I definitely think so. Especially to try and promote the game, and you could possibly have it like it's a barbell, so have it every 4 years. Put a team together every 3 or 4 years, maybe not every year, but it's definitely something worth having and including that into the calendar for November.
Well, actually, so what they should do is in Lions tour years. It's the Pacific,
that's right.
The Pacific version of the Lions. Go up, have an extended tour, play a few midweek games.
Yeah, that'd
be amazing. And I think you get the fans behind it now. So quick, as a lot of World Rugby people are saying, now is a good time for resets. Perhaps we need to quickly email Oscar, Augustus P show. Let me know. So one of the points in here is that you apparently you've got a few offers then from a couple of European teams, but decided not to go.
Yes, so Bath had approached me, and was it Leeds as well after that tour. So I decided not to go. I had to come back because I was still contracted with North Harbour as well, and I wanted to come back and because it was going to be a big year with the 2007 World Cup. So I decided to come back and finish that year off with Harbour, and that led straight into the Rugby World Cup in 07. Then after that, that's when got offered a gig over in Toulon after the World Cup.
That's Toulon in the days of sort of Johnny Wilkinson.
No. So before that, we were in the second division in the Pro de Deux. So we won that, and then we got the club got promoted into the top 14. So I was there when all the other big stars from the '07 World Cup were finishing up, and they all ended up in Toulon as well. So the likes of Gregan, Matt Field, Anton Oliver, Merdens, to name a few. Yeah, Chris Rousseau.
And somehow you won Division 2 with those people. I wonder how.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there wasn't much French being spoken at training. It was all English. So yeah, we had a translator there for the Frenchies because there were more foreigners than Frenchies back then. But yeah, we had an incredible year. Awesome experience playing in that division. And the fans and the support and the crowd and the whole community was absolutely amazing the whole time.
Oh, there's the stories of their stadium and the way they sing the club song before the game.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be the way that because you also walk the stadium, don't you, through the crowds, the whole atmosphere, the community really gets into. It's a massive event each day.
Yeah, absolutely. That. So it's they call it the Pilu song, and when the team's getting ready to walk through the tunnel, you have the owner on the mic in the middle of the field. What's his name? Morad. Yep. Yeah, he's got the mic and he's leading the song, and then he's just see the veins popping out of his neck because he's real passionate about it.
He's a character.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. So yeah, we've had some pretty out of it meetings with him, team meetings with him throughout that season.
Yep. You had some interest, because he's famous. I mean, some of the comments he's made, sort of again, Julian Surveyor's been on the end of a few of his comments and stuff. So yeah, it's I bet it was. Any stories that you're allowed to tell, or is that or one?
No. There is one that stood out, and Andrew Merdens spoke about it as well. So he mentioned it in the media. So it was we had a game being played away. We needed to win that game to try and secure our place at the top. And that would have been 4 games before the season had ended. And after our captain's run, Tana said we had a meeting inside. We all thought it was with Tana, but it was actually with the owner, Morad. And so we were all in the changing room, and then he came storming in, and he started off real calm, collected, and then went absolutely mental and started threatening to rip all our contracts up if we didn't win that game, because he really wanted us to try and put it away so we didn't have to worry about it, because we did have one hard game against Metro in that last part. So yeah, he was going off his head and pointing at us and threatening to rip our contracts up. He didn't care who we were. He didn't care if you had played 1 test or 100 tests. He didn't care if we were going to take the club to court. He just said that we needed to win that game, or there's going to be no one playing for Toulon the following year. So yeah, we just all, after that, when you walked out, we just all looked at each other and we were like, far out, man, this guy's absolutely crazy. But there's no doubt that that we were going to win, because we were pretty confident and we had been playing really well. And it wasn't one of the harder teams that we were playing against on that Saturday. He just really wanted us to secure that, so then he could take a bit of pressure off him as well. But yeah, it was pretty crazy. He did have a fallout with Anton Oliver as well towards the end. Wow. Yeah, so they didn't work well together.
Wow, that's crazy stuff. The one of the kind of reputations or the cliches around France is that they try for their home games, they don't try so much for away games. Did you experience that sometimes that the away games were kind of not as important?
Yeah, well, because it was a long season, and over there, the home team must win, according to the fans, and I think that's just been part of their tradition. But because we had Tana as coach, he didn't make it like that. It was like every game, we've got to win. And there are times where he was forced to, rest some key players because of the long season. But we went up there, wanting to win every game. But you could obviously see that when we did play at home, that a second string team from the opposition would be lining up against us and, kind of take take away the the whole integrity out of the match. But
Yeah.
it is what it is over there, and it's it's expected, and that's what it's like when you're playing home and away. Send your strong team, or your strong team when you're playing at home, and then send a weaker team.
Yeah, it's a very different culture that I think than a lot of us really kind of understand. So you from there you moved across to Harlequins, who I think have, in my view, have the nicest jerseys in rugby.
Yeah. So after that experience in Ceylon, I actually had signed another year, but I got screwed over by Murat. So it wasn't only me; it was Nathan Major as well, ex for All Black, and a few other players. And apparently, he had done that in the past, so he had promised contracts and stuff. So we had a meeting before I had left at the end of the season, and my agent and Morad, they both verbally agreed to a contract, and we were trying to chase them up so I could sign it before I had left, and time was running out, and it was time for us to fly out. And he promised my agent that he'll send the contract through and send it over to New Zealand. And then after arriving back in the country, a couple of weeks later after that, I got a phone call from my agent, and he said, "Oh, fuck." Apologized and said, "Look, Morad's, done what he's done to other players in the past." He said no, he's changed his mind, and that actually, I was pretty shattered after that because we had left everything that we had bought over there, expecting to go back. And then things quickly, all of a sudden changed. My son was born over in France as well, so when we came back, he was only like 3 months old. So had to quickly, try and find another gig, and that's when the Harlequins gig popped up. So I actually managed in between that time, between Toulon and Harlequins, managed to play for Auckland in the Mitre 10 Cup. So squeezed in a couple of games there. They were struggling for injuries, and Pat Lam gave me a call and said if I was keen. I said, "Oh yeah, why not?"
Yep.
So played for Auckland, and then went over to Harlequins, and that was Nick Evans' first year at the club as well.
His first year, okay, because he obviously became a legend, a club legend there. But that situation, look, you're a brand new dad. You've got your stuff in France. You suddenly don't have a contract. A lot of teams, nowadays I think it's so more advanced, so perhaps not so much then, but a lot of teams will have sorted out their business for next season, the Christmas before, so about sort of 8 months beforehand. The available spaces at that point is slim, and the stress, and this is why things like the Pacific Players Association and also the Pacific Rugby Players Welfare Group have got together, because sometimes you do get put in those in some real difficult situations like that.
And they would have been real handy if they were formed back then, because I had bills to pay, the family to feed. There was my son in France was my second child as well, so it was really stressful at the time, and I didn't know what I was going to do, and all I needed was someone just to have a chat to, and and say, hey, look, this is what can happen. We can put a plan together. You could find some work in the meantime. Everything's going to be okay. Just someone to talk to and give you reassurance that everything's going to be okay, and offer that support. And that's really important, I believe, especially nowadays with the massive pressure put on players, especially those with families. And it may not need to be someone who has rugby experience, just someone that you can talk to. And because I felt that I didn't really have anyone that I could really open up about it too. So having that support around those pressure times is really important.
Yeah, we're talking, and just put there in some context. We're talking about an established international who's been into the Rugby World Cup, who's been playing in the Galactico team of its time, and suddenly, do you think about the guys who aren't internationals who are over there? If they're even in a more precarious state. People look at international players. We look at someone like geez, I'm just trying to think now. I mean, Nadola would be another one who was over there. Again, you think, oh, well, he's an established international. He's got a professional contract. Everything's sweet with him. It's the guys further down that are the problem. And you actually know, you guys, it's yeah, there's unseen things going on across the board for rugby players. My little rants. So yeah, a year at Harlequins. With,
had a season at Harlequins. I was.
So did you take the family back, or did the family stay
here?
Oh no,
so the family stayed. I didn't want to, because I wasn't sure. It was only a 1 year over at Harlequins, and I didn't want to take them over. And then I didn't find anything after that. And then
especially after France,
especially after France. So they stayed behind, and they were settled back in New Zealand, especially with the support they had with the family as well around them. And so I had an interesting time at Harlequins. Really enjoyed that. Great bunch of boys. Loved the culture as well, and a good experience as well to be playing in the Premiership. Exposed to a new environment, professional playing environment over in England, and learn a few things as well.
So and players like Danny Kerr, Chris Robshaw, probably coming through at that sort of time.
So it was all their first year. So Danny Kerr got. I went pretty much to cover for him when he was away. So it was his first year, and there Chris Robshaw, who he was just coming into his peak then. Ugo Monye as well was there. What else did they have in the front row? What's his name? He just got banned for bloody English prop for
Joe Marler.
Joe Marler. Joe Marler. So he was in the academy over there. So
I was going to say, I thought before probably Joe Marler, Joe Sinclair. Just before they were coming through, and
they're all in the academy. So it was pretty cool seeing those guys, make it to top, because the academy boys here, they get paid peanuts, and they got to do pretty much the full training as a top team. So he's done really well for himself, which is awesome to see. They had a good bunch here, and it was good that they won the Premiership as well, because they had been playing some really good code prior to that. And then that same year, they had their whole Bloodgate bloody situation with with Dean Richards having to resign from his position. A lot happened that year.
So you got yourself a champion's medal that year?
No.
There wasn't that season. Okay.
It was a few seasons after that.
Right.
Yeah, that was 2012. I think they won. So after that, Harlequins. I had a pretty awesome opportunity. So we were finishing up then. I was heading back home, and I got a phone call from Epi Taoni. He was at Harlequins at the time as well, and he was finishing up. And he called and goes, "Oh, hey, there's an opportunity to be in a Hollywood film." And I was like, "Oh, okay, what's this? What's this about?" And he goes, "Oh, we got to go into London, and we've got to audition. All we need to do is just do the haka." And I was like, well, "What's the film called?" And he goes, "Oh, it's called Invictus." And he told me about the film, and I was like, "Oh, well, okay." And I go, "Oh, so how did you find out about this?" And he goes, "He's got a good mate that's really good friends with but I forgot the director's name now. Clint Eastwood."
Oh wow! Okay.
I thought he was taking the piss, and then he picked me up. We went to London, and then went into the auditioning room and had all these people there. And then there was 4 of us, so we had to go in one by one and do the haka. And I had to keep a straight face, because I couldn't stop laughing, because just the whole, I didn't believe it was real.
Yep.
So we got through that, and then a couple of days later, we're on a business class flight to South Africa, Johannesburg. We spent 7 days over there pretty much as A-lister, getting treated not as an extra, but we were staying at the same hotel as Morgan Freeman and Matt Damon.
Yep. Oh wow.
And had our own rooms, and there were flashes, and got pocket money every day, and it was awesome, man. That was an awesome experience. Rubbing shoulders, Matt Damon, and on the set, in between takes and stuff, and just an awesome guy to be around, and amazing. Morgan Freeman as well, having all the chats with him. So that was one real amazing experience that I got to.
So the only time you've worn an All Blacks jersey?
Yeah, the only time I wore All Blacks jersey, I was acting as Jamie Joseph. I had the long sleeves. Yeah, so that was cool. And then headed back home after that, straight from South Africa, straight home to Auckland.
And then down to Bay of Plenty.
And then down to Bay of Plenty. So 2 years down there, and that was pretty cool because it was a totally different environment to what I was used to in Auckland. Oh, pardon me. So in our downtime down there, we would go hunting, fishing, surfing. So things that I wasn't used to being up here in the Big Smoke, and
being a city boy,
yeah, being a city boy. So we had a really good season down there in the Bay. One of the best seasons that they've had, and managed to get Mike Delaney and Tanara Latsima into the All Blacks that year. So a lot of positives from that, and I really enjoyed it. And then got a Chiefs contract after that season as well. So.
Yes, that's 2010, and
2010, and
so that's before their titles, right?
Yeah, just before their titles. When they won it, 12 and 13. Yes, 2012. Yeah. Then played that year with the Chiefs there, and then after that, got their contract with Exeter. Spent 4 years over there.
There's a lot talked about. I mean, I'm wearing my Exeter Chiefs jersey here, or polo shirt. Full disclosure, they are my team. But there's a lot spoken about the culture that Rob Baxter has ingrained there. How a lot of the players like I think probably come through, or probably might have been academy guys when you were there, but people like Jack Nowell and Luke Cowan-Dickey who went to preschool together, and have come through from Cornwall. Is it all a bit PR talk, or was there a different kind of culture there than you experienced, say, at Harlequins, which is your other English experience?
Yeah, so obviously Harlequins being over in big London, and then coming down to Exeter, who were in their first year in the Premiership, and it was a totally different environment. They run a really good club down there, led by Rob Baxter, and they are driven by the old school core values of working hard, playing for each other, respect, and he recruits a lot of players that have come from the Championship, and it kind of shows. So he's not after the flashy. So back then when I was there, he wasn't after any of the big names. He was after guys that didn't come from clubs with much resource or much money, but what they showed out the field was as if they did. And he recruited a lot of good players that came and did the job for him, especially in the early years. And they grafted away, and just to see where they're at now, I'm not surprised, to be honest, because the 4 years that I was there, you could see that what they were building was something that a lot of players wanted to be a part of. And not only players, but administration, the wider community, sponsors, corporates, everything. And as you can see, their whole setup now, the whole stadium, and then the new hotel being built right next door, it's absolutely incredible. And from what I've read, that they're one of the very few clubs that have recorded a profit, financial profit. So they're growing, and it's been 10 years since they've been in the Premiership, and they've won a Premiership. They've been in the finals about 3 years as well. So in terms of recruitment, I think that's one of his real good strengths, Rob Baxter. and Jack Noel and Dave Ewers and Luca and Dickies and Slady. They were all in the academy when I was there, and just freaking out seeing them on TV and seeing Jack Noel playing for the Lions as well. When I saw them right from the start when they came in, when they were skinny boys, and we're all pretty much new to the environment, and kind of took them under my wing as well because I spent a lot of time with them. So yeah, really proud of what they've achieved so far.
Yeah, and in your time there, you spent a lot of time being kind of traveling reserve and that kind of stuff, and being a real club man. And obviously when you were there for 4 years, it sounds like, and the way you talk about it, sounds like you enjoyed your time there, but you did have a bit of some issues with because the 2011 Rugby World Cup, where you wanted to go play for Samoa, but Exeter said no, you can't, and then you ended up sort of the news report I think was that you said you didn't get paid you had to take a pay cut to go to the Rugby World Cup, which I think is totally wrong. But so that didn't sour your relationship with the club, or you managed to get through that?
Yeah. Well, I was kind of prepared. So when I did sign that extension, it was under the condition that I wouldn't be available for international anymore. And then that was kind of I was kind of gutted about that, because obviously the World Cup being the following year. But then when that opportunity came, and Samoa coach called me and said, look, was there any way I could get out of that and come along to the World Cup? And I said, oh, well, I have to speak to Rob. Yeah, I had a good chat with Rob, and I had a few chats with him, and he wasn't too happy. But then, he changed his mind and said, okay, look, we'll let you go. But, we're not going to pay you. You're going to have to, find your own way there, and then come back. And, they're going to use that money to bring in someone else to cover me. And, at the time I was really thankful for him to let me go, but it's kind of disappointed as well, because I was losing out, having to pay for my family to fly back to New Zealand for the World Cup, and then not getting paid and having to survive on the income I was getting from Samoa, which obviously isn't very much, and it's been the same for the past 20 years. So that was always at the back of my head as well. So as much as I wanted to enjoy the World Cup, I was like, at the back of my head, shucks, I'm actually a full-time professional, but I'm not getting paid from my club. So I was trying not to think about that too much, and then I had to pay, our fares to go back as well. And then when I did come back, that's when it all kind of turned sour. I didn't get a look in at all. They ended up signing on that Patrick Phibbs, who came in to cover for me. They ended up signing him on for the rest of the season.
Yep.
I don't know if that was to piss me off or just to not have me included, but there wasn't. Well, I believe there wasn't really any, because I was there and having him there as well. There was just an extra halfback, so one of us was definitely going to not be involved.
Yep.
And then for the rest of that year, I kind of just sat back and said, oh, look, I was going to face reality and accept that I'm not going to get a look in unless there's going to be injuries. And so I didn't want to turn up to training, and pull a sook and not be involved. And, because everyone knew why I wasn't playing and involved in the first team. And I had some really good guys there that were supporting me along the way and say, hey, look, it is what it is. Just try and get on with it and see the positive side of it. And because I was one of the older guys, one of the positives was that I could be able to help develop and mentor the young ones coming through, and just being a really good club team man. And then the coaching aspect came into play as well. So I was doing a coaching course there, and I was coaching at Exeter University with one of the players. We were coaching the third grade team. So I thought, oh, okay, why not use this time to actually develop, my coaching skills. One of the coaches was quite influential during my time there towards the end was Ricky Pello, the skills coach. So he's awesome, man, and he's full of energy. He's always coming up with all these different kinds of drills, trying to be innovative. Some skills probably not that great, but he's always giving it a go. And he plays a massive, key part. He might not be involved with the A team, with the top team quite a bit, but the work that he does with the development and the skills and everything else with the players coming through, he's a massive part of that coaching group, and he's doing a really good job. And he definitely, the work he does, he complements Ali Heffer and Rob Baxter. So they all work really, really well together.
Yeah, and hence they're still together, and they're signed up for even longer. Yeah. But I mean, look, it's a real testament to your character. That, I mean, I was on the powwow, which is the fans forum, a lot of that in those days, and there was nothing coming through or in the rumor mills about what was going on with you. So real testament to your character, and well done through that time. But that coaching was kind of was lining up for your post career, isn't it? Because as you've come out of rugby, you've got involved in a lot of coaching and also in community work as well.
Yeah. So when I came back, so after Exeter, I came back in 2013 in May and went to my local club, Papatoi. That's where a lot of the boys were at. So I went there out in South Auckland, went there and caught up with the coach, Luke Mealamu, who is Kevin's older brother. We had a good chat, and he said, "Hey, look, it's funny you come back because Auckland Rugby, he just spoke to Wayne Pivac, and Pivac said that they're looking for a halfback." And so at that training, he got on the phone and called Pivac and said, "Oh, hey, JP's back. Would you be keen?" And then he set up a meeting, and then me and Pivac caught up, and then signed a contract to play for Auckland that year when I got back, 2013, and then played 2014 as well for Auckland. So that whole transition.
If anyone thinks that it's that it's all pre-planned and all,
yeah.
Well, a lot of things come down to who you happen to talk to at what time.
So I'm pretty thankful for Luke for setting that up, and it was pretty much a perfect transition for me after coming back, because after that 4 years in Exeter, came back with the family, and I said, "Oh, look, I'm not gonna try looking for another contract because I'm getting older and I don't want to move the family again." Yep. So we came back, and I said, I still wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And having that semi-pro contract with Auckland was probably ideal. And then that led me into getting a full-time role with the rugby club, with Papatoi, firstly as the community rugby development officer. And then a couple of years after that, that led into being the director of rugby, only because I had got shoulder tapped by one of the other top clubs in Auckland to jump on board as their director. Which I was really grateful for, and kind of showed me that I was doing some good work out in Pep, and they wanted me to do the same over there. But I had established a lot of good relationships in Pep and done a lot of good work in the community, and I didn't want to just chuck that away. And I was really passionate about South Auckland and providing opportunities, and I didn't want to just let that all go.
It's not you're not just training the first team at or working with the first team at Papatoi, are you? You're looking at you're working with kids who perhaps haven't necessarily got the best family situations and stuff, and helping them through and working with the community down there in South Auckland. Yeah,
100%. So obviously a lot of our families here are not rich. A lot of the parents are working 2 jobs. They don't have much. Some of them don't even have boots of training or proper running or proper training gear. So I get a lot of our local schools, and I go and help out. And I really try to use rugby as a vehicle for these guys to believe in themselves, to believe that if you work hard at training, or if you become a team member, if you respect each other, all of these these are all life skills that you can use in life in general, and just being that person that wasn't around when we were at school as well. So that's really fulfilling for me with the job that I do. It's money on top of that I do get paid, I'm pretty fortunate to be getting what I am getting paid. But at the end of the day, it's the impact that I have within our community, and I've been there for going on to 7 years now, and I've seen a lot of the boys that I've worked with at under 14 level at school, even the juniors. I still do a lot of work with the juniors. So I've seen them when they finish up at juniors under 13 level. I've been there long enough for them to come back when they finish school. So, I'm still connecting with them at junior level. And then when they go to the local high school, I'm still keeping in touch because I see them around the school when I'm coaching other teams. And then it's awesome to see them come back when I recruit them back into club level.
And that's massive, because one of the big things that I've heard, and I'm down here in Hamilton, but talking to various clubs, is that is obviously the kids come through the age grades at the clubs. They then leave the club, when they go to high school, they play rugby in first 15 at high school, and then you've got to try and get them back into the clubs to obviously to come back to your first team, and that can be, once they've gone away, coming back to the club can be difficult. So that work is invaluable for the clubs for the next 10 and 15 years, because they're going to be stalwarts if you can get them back in again.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so stalwarts, loyal club members, they're the ones. To be fair, there are still some challenges in trying to get our players back, because with the massive decline in participation, everyone's fighting over, players. And a lot of the players, when they leave school that are still wanting to be involved in club rugby, a lot of those players are from South Auckland. And so all those clubs are reaching out, trying to scramble, within the region that I'm trying to hold on to. And then it's also because we're the most southern club, we're on the borderline of counties. We've got those neighbouring counties clubs that are also coming into our region and taking our players. So, the players that I do end up with, or do manage to recruit or to retain, I feel that I do pretty good, considering all those factors that are coming in. But it also just goes to show that, the culture that we have at the club and the environment we're providing. And I'm not trying to, ideally we want to win a championship with our premier team. We want to win the Gallows Shield. But if we can, be sustainable, have good numbers at club level, at senior level, have our juniors thriving as well, because the juniors are the future of our club, because that's where it all starts. They leave to go school and then they come back. But last year we posted the highest growth in Auckland with our junior numbers out of all the clubs, which was a massive positive. And a lot of that, we did survey, and a lot of that came down to the culture of the club, word of mouth as well, which is a big one, and recruitment and social media. So doing some good things at the club, and it comes down to a lot of our volunteers as well. And that's a whole other issue around volunteers and having, good people on board. So the volunteers that we do have, really grateful for their time as well.
Yeah, because you don't have the money of someone like your College Rifles or Ponsonby, or even
Marist as well.
Marist,
Pakuranga,
Pakuranga, which is where I think Dwayne is going to go back and play some club rugby between his Major League Rugby pieces. Do you see any of your players actually heading over to Major League Rugby, or from your first?
There is. Well, we got our Samoan international, D'Angelo Lewila, who should have been on that 2019 World Cup. He should have. Well, I believe he should have been. He was the best Samoa 10. No disrespect to Susi Pisi, he was a good friend of mine, but D'Angelo was, clearly the best 10 that should have been, taken. But Jacko had other ideas. So we have him. We have another player, Josh Tafili, who just needs a crack. He had the most tackle breaks, the most line breaks in the competition last year. Devastating runner with the ball, and just needs a break. So he's another one. He was part of that Samoan team in the Global Rapid Rugby competition that got called off after one game. So trained really hard for that. So
I went down and watched the pre-season game between China Lions and the Samoa team down in
okay.
So
down in
Tauranga, where we had a red card for a punch. Oops.
That was silly. I saw that as well. Yeah, that wasn't good. That was
No.
good.
Actually,
Yeah.
what do you think of the law changes that they put into global rapid rugby with things like quicker scrums, quicker lineouts?
Yeah, I
It's
saw
not as
that.
long.
It's not as long. It's a 7-minute game. You can't kick it out on the full.
Yep.
If you do, then it's a line out to the opposition team or something like that. But
It's lines from the opposition where you kicked it from. So even
that's
if you
right.
kick it out of your 22, yeah. Sorry, just explaining for the audience.
Yes, yeah.
And then they also have if you kick it from your own 22 into the other, or from your own half into the opposition's 22, and it bounces and goes out, you get the line out.
You get the line out. Yeah. So it rewards the attacking team, and there's opportunities to keep the ball and play longer, which is better entertainment for the fans. Get better engagement. So yeah, I quite like it. You got to be super fit, but there is room for the big boys to be dominant at scrum time and win your set piece. But it's just a shame, obviously, with this pandemic that they had to cut it short. But there's opportunities there for World Rugby to jump on around the law changes.
Yeah, there's some interesting. I'll be honest, I was skeptical at first, but actually seeing it played in the flesh, it's still real rugby. You're not. It's not a razzmatazz kind of. It doesn't become sort of festival rugby. It is still real rugby. There's still big hits, and the set piece doesn't matter. So yeah, no, I think they're interesting ones. Talking of the pandemic and obviously the shutdown, I know there's been concern around a lot of the clubs and how they're going to cope, because obviously a lot of the money that comes into the club scene in rugby comes from either from the gambling trusts and also from the also basically money over the bar. Now those are two things obviously going to dry up. So it's how is your club? Are they coping?
Yeah, good question. So myself and some others, we actually had a Zoom meeting with the other directors of rugby from the other Auckland clubs. It's just a catch up to see how we're doing and what we're doing with in terms of player engagement and coaches as well. So a lot of us, some clubs do have cash reserves in case the funds from ARU or the trust funds do dry up. But a club like us, we don't have much money, and we solely rely on the funding that we do get. So we've managed to secure funding till around August. So we're hoping to for the season to kick off, so we can start getting some more funds in, and obviously people can start putting some more coins in the poker machine. So the gaming trusts do get some funds to give out to the local communities. But there's a few worrying times for us. But after the announcement by the PM last night, it's definitely leaves you optimistic that we are getting out of this and we could be out on the field pretty soon.
Yeah, so for those that don't know, the club season is from March through till August time normally.
From August from March, end of March to July. End of July they have the Gala Shield final, and then from August to October that's the rep season.
So they up and that kind of stuff. Yep.
Yeah. So there are talks around a club season being played around July to September, or even possibly going into October.
Yeah. So hence the things like the Heartland Championship have been already cancelled. So the club season is going to happen at a different time of year, which is going to be interesting for everyone to see how that works. I see also that you've done some coaching with the with some of the age grade or some of the levels within Auckland Rugby. Do you have coaching aspirations to go to high levels, or what are your?
Yeah, I've thought about it. I'm really passionate about coaching, but I feel my strengths lie within the development space. So around the youth age group and developing them, and especially the players that have aspirations to go to a higher level, and preparing them for what it takes to when they reach that high level of professional rugby. So I've been coaching the Auckland under-19s down at Taupo, been involved in, done a lot of school first 15 coaching as well, and I really enjoy it. Obviously I'd love to be coaching professionally full time, but that's a pretty stressful job, and there's not many, full time pro jobs in New Zealand, especially with there's only 5 Super Rugby teams. But if I was keen to get into full time coaching, I'll definitely be overseas somewhere, especially in those countries where rugby is emerging, and they take it seriously. Like obviously America and their MLR new competition, so they'll be cool. But yeah, maybe one day in the future I'd love to coach Samoa as well.
Oh wow, that's yeah. You've got some the competitive spirit still there. I can see the. I also see you've been involved with 929 Fitness, and you're still Stronghold Fitness. So are you is that a gym setup, or what's
so there was a local gym that I partnered up with a good friend of mine back in 2015, and we opened up a little studio where we focused on group training, and we ran that for about 4 years, and then we closed that up because we both had full-time jobs as well, and that was on the side. And we just felt that, in order for us to, we weren't, giving it the attention that it needed. And things with full-time jobs were getting a bit hectic, and then with our own families as well, and something had to give. So we decided to close up shop and just focus on our full-time jobs and our families, and kind of relieved, in hindsight, it was probably a big ask. But at the time, we thought, we could do it. But it was a good learning experience, and met a lot of good people along the way as well. But also gave us a good insight on how to set up a business and how to run it. But so I take off my hat for all those who have started up a business and have managed to remain open. I feel for those, especially around this time as well, because there's going to be a lot of businesses that are going to be closing up and not reopening because of this.
No, absolutely, and but it's a lot of Aaron Smith, for example, he also opens up a fitness studio. Obviously, being an All Black, he's a bit more cash behind to do that kind of stuff. But it is a space that quite a few players have moved into in the past. So I get some.
And it's it's the audience is there. Obviously, health and well-being is playing a big part in our lives, and if you're really passionate and you're dedicated and motivated to keep it going, then man, there's definitely opportunities there to really grow your business.
Sorry, my housemate is doing a supermarket run, and she's going, do I want to get anything? So she doesn't realise what I'm up to at the moment. And I guess the other thing also, obviously you're dealing with the community quite a lot. One of the big things about, you say, down in South Auckland, you've got lots of it's big Pacifica population, and a lot of the ways that culturally you're used to socializing in big family groups. How are you finding that, or what sort of feedback from the community and you're getting from coping with this lockdown and not being able to have those big family gatherings?
Yeah, it's been really tough, especially obviously religion being a big part of our culture. So a lot of the churches have gone to online churches. Thankfully for Facebook, they set up private groups where they can do online services on Facebook, which is really good. And with the first generation of migrants here, those are the ones that really try to educate around the importance of staying at home, being safe in your bubble, not extending your bubble, and all those things. And it's us second and third generation, having to educate that on them. And that's why the government's put a lot of funding behind the advertising and the messaging around those key things about the alert level 4. And there's a lot of services around targeting Māori and Pacifica, especially around that. There's a lot of support for food and things like that, because there's a lot of our elders that aren't on Facebook or social media, don't even have the internet, and they still use the old school radio to find out information about what's going on in the real world, or they wait for relatives or family to go over and talk about what's been happening. So that's the only way they could find out. But obviously with with the strict rules around essential travel and going into someone else's bubble, it makes it a little bit harder.
Yeah.
But there are services out in South Auckland that help support that, where they can go over and knock on the door and just check up on our elders. But it's been pretty tough, especially with funerals and things like that. Where a lot of our people get together and have those gatherings, and it's been hard to take, but it is what it is. And in order for us to look after the next generation and the generation after that, that's what this generation really needs to do.
Yeah,
do their part.
And it's interesting. And it's, as you say, it's also a culture where we respect your elders, and now the elders having been told what to do. I guess there's going to be a few of them that aren't going to take that too well, but hopefully, hopefully they stay safe, because it's for all of us to do. Thank you. This has been a fascinating chat. If people want to engage with you on social media and stuff, do you? And where's your club? Where's the best way to get in touch with the club as well? Because you said you get in touch with the community via social media as well.
Yeah, so if you we're on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. If they search Papatoetoe Rugby Football Club, we're on there. You can easily find us. We're quite active on social media, and our website as well. We have a website. You can just search us on Google, and that pops up. And then also you can catch up with me on Twitter, on social media, under Jip Too Easy, JIP2EZY, or just type in my name, you'll be able to find me. But more than happy to connect with the fans and supporters that I've met in the past, and even those who I haven't, but have been supporters of the clubs that I've played at. That's what I really love about rugby, is that you can connect with so many different people, and they bring up things from the past that you might not remember, but it could be something small, but it's massive to them, and that's what I love about rugby the most.
Well, thank you very much. As I said at the beginning, this has been an interview I've been wanting to do for about 4 or 5 years. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Paul.
And everybody, please like the page or subscribe if you're listening to the podcast. As we've heard, Junior played for Bay of Plenty, and I'm interviewing Mike Rogers, who is the Bay of Plenty CEO. So stick around for that interview as well. And you can catch up on all the Long Talk interviews on the Facebook page. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Paul.